What's going on, friends? Logan Myerz here for Cinephellas.com. Tonight I'm going to be talking about the 4th episode of The Mandalorian, streaming on the Disney Plus streaming service. The episode is called Sanctuary. It's directed by Bryce Dallas Howard, that fantastic actress. She was in Black Mirror not too long ago, Jurassic World, a bunch of movies. Her dad's Ron Howard, so she's a big deal. A really fantastic standout episode yet again in The Mandalorian. Each episode, like I said in previous reviews, get better and better. Each quest that the Mandalorian goes on with young baby Yoda, it's always going to be pretty interesting. So the setup of the episode, we have the Mandalorian. We get kind of a glimpse of his past, his backstory a bit. He wasn't really born into this role. He was kind of taken in and became the Mandalorian, so he wasn't born into it like other people. A really interesting story, seeing him younger. We also find out why he doesn't take off the helmet, because I would love for him to take that off, and it's just Pedro Pascal. You killed my sister! The Viper? No? Boo! We're introduced to the character Cara, played by Gina Carano. If you guys don't know who she is, she used to be a fighter, but her character setup is essentially she's a mercenary. She comes across the Mandalorian, or I should say, Mandalorian and Baby Yoda end up coming across her in this village and this different, smaller planet, and they end up just beating the shit out of each other, and they're like, okay, we're cool now. We're friends. Throughout the episode, you kind of see the relationship and exactly what they come across in this small village, and it's pretty sweet, especially at the end of the episode. The Mandalorian and young baby Yoda showing up at this village, meeting all the town people. You see all the different people living in this village, what they're coming across, and they're going to start training to fight for battle that's coming. They find this big footprint out in the mud outside of this village. And right when I saw it, I knew exactly what it was. And I was absolutely right, because we get to see it at the end. So these people are kind of training and learning to fight. And it sets up the third act of the episode, which is absolutely phenomenal. Top-notch action, guns a-blazing, people running, screaming, fighting, doing all that stuff. And we find out what's lurking in the woods is none other than the AT-ST. Yes! You know, the AT-ST, like, walking in the snow in Empire Strikes Back. The best Star Wars movie, in my opinion. I love that scene in the movie. Where they're walking in the snow and Planet Hoth. They reintroduced that war machine kind of lurking through the woods, and the way it was shot, it looks so badass. I don't know if they did it practical, it's probably CGI, but the way it like comes into view out of the woods, and the people in this village are waiting for it, ready to go to battle, and you just see like two red eyes lurking out of the top of the forest, the top of the trees. And one of my favorite shots of the episode, which sets up the last 10 minutes of this huge battle of them taking on the village people, YMCA, Mandalorian and Baby Yoda taking on the AT-ST. I'm not going to say who wins, but you can probably guess what happens at the end. A really fantastic scene. My favorite in the entire episode is Sanctuary. Is really cool. I love how they're doing the show. Each episode is a different chapter. It's like a new quest you would see in a video game, or you'd play in a video game, and that's what it reminds me of. Like, I'm playing a Star Wars video game, hanging out with the Mandalorian and Baby Yoda, going on this voyage and an adventure across the galaxy and coming across all these different life forms, creatures, different planets. It's much like a video game, but with a really high production value like you would see in a movie. It just looks beautiful. Everything about the show is absolutely top-notch. Sanctuary, the 4th episode of The Mandalorian, is definitely a really great entry in the show. We don't have too many episodes left of The Mandalorian, which I'm kind of bummed about, but they're filming season 2 right now, so they're going to be releasing that probably next year sometime. But the introduction to Cara's character, I thought she was really badass. Intricate part of this episode and what they come across in this. And I thought she worked great alongside the Mandalorian. Even though they didn't hit it off at first, they just beat the shit out of each other. But I thought she was really great in this role, playing a really awesome mercenary. And hopefully we'll see her character in future episodes of The Mandalorian. One last thing, the Baby Yoda in this episode is cute and awesome as ever. Him flying with the Mandalorian in the ship. He's like fucking around with the buttons and switches. I'm waiting for Baby Yoda to like throw in DMX or something and like piss off the Mandalorian. The Baby Yoda's always kind of hanging out in the sidelines, watching the Mandalorian do his thing and, win these battles and beat the shit out of people and just hangs out like a cute little baby that he is. But I'm sure he'll set up more of his character throughout the rest of the season as well. But again, I love Baby Yoda and the Mandalorian, their chemistry, the relationship, father-son relationship in this episode called Sanctuary. But overall, I had a great time with this episode. Really great directing by Bryce Dallas Howard. Kudos to her for tearing it up in this episode. Had much like a Rogue One feel to it, very dark. It's on land, it's not up in space or anything. And Mandalorian and Cara and Baby Yoda, they all just really have a great chemistry together, and the setup of them fighting the AT-ST. So it was really fantastic. Set design, costume design was all there. Really great story, another great entry in the show, and I'm really interested to see what they do next. What's the next quest in this TV show, and where will it all end at the end of season 1? So I'm going to give The Mandalorian episode 4, titled Sanctuary, a 4 out of 5 Baby Yoda hair pieces. This is Logan Myerz signing out with the ATST. Until the next video review. Cheers!